All right, good evening, everybody. It's 7:30 p.m. on Tuesday, October 27th, 2020. We're in the Twinsburg Government Center. I'm going to call the regular council meeting to session. Shannon, please call the roll.
Mr. Bellin?
I'm here.
Mr. Barr?
Here.
Ms. McPherron?
Here.
Mrs. Walker?
Present.
Mr. Fury?
Here.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Here.
Mr. Scafidi?
Here.
All right, please join Ms. McPherron in the invocation and pledge of allegiance.
Heavenly Father, we come to you today asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting. Help us to engage in meaningful discussion, allow us to grow closer as a group, and nurture the bonds of community. Fill us with your grace as we make decisions that affect all of our residents, our businesses, and our dedicated city employees. Bless those away from us serving to protect our country. We ask these things in your name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, next up is the approval of the minutes from the regular council meeting on October 13th, 2020. Everybody have an opportunity to take a look at those?
Yes.
Yes. Make a motion that we accept the minutes as submitted.
All right, Mr. Fury makes a motion. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Ms. McPherron seconds. Shannon, please call the roll.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Ms. McPherron?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
All right, the minutes are approved 7-0 as submitted. Next up is awards and presentations.
Well, thank you. Good evening. I want to take this time to call Assistant Chief Bob Kaczewski. You can stand right here. Bob, after almost 31 years, well, it will be 31 years, is retiring. And he's had a very remarkable career here from the city of Twinsburg. A career of firsts. He was hired in 1990, and a few years after that, he became the first Twinsburg police officer to serve on Metro SWAT. That team had formed, and we were part of it, and he stepped up to be on the SWAT team for a number of years. And he stepped down from SWAT because he then became our first K-9 handler, K-9 Emery, who always will hold a place in my heart because when my daughter was born back in 1999, Bob and Emery were the first two officers to come visit us at the apartment at the time and see the baby. I don't know if you remember that, but you guys were the first. So my wife wanted to make sure I mentioned that to you and say thank you once again. Bob was also the first promotion that I made as chief of police, promoting him to sergeant back in 2006. And then, of course, he rose up the ranks to become our first assistant chief of police for the city of Twinsburg. So very long, very storied career, well-deserved retirement. I know that you're definitely not looking forward to this, that you're nervous. No, he's not. He's totally looking forward to this. He's got big plans, and you know he deserves a retirement full of happiness and a long retirement. So we've got a couple of things tonight. The first thing is that part of what we do when we retire, we request City Council as an honorarium to transfer his service pistol into his name from the city. So they're going to do that tonight. And I also have your retirement badge. So I've been carrying this thing around all day. So this, he's worn a number of badges, obviously, since he started here, but I think this is the one he's looked forward to the most. So presenting you with your retirement badge. Best of luck to you. I'm going to miss you. It's he's been a great right-hand man to me, and I don't know, it's going to be an adjustment for me not having you around. So, because you were here before I got here, it seems like you've been here forever. And you have. So congratulations to you, Bob. Best of luck. And you have some words?
Sure.
I know you have some words.
Sure. Well, I just want to thank, we just call him Gonzo here. That's what he's known by. No one can pronounce his last name, so that's what we do. But it's been great having Bob here, AC. You know, in all my departments, I kind of have people that I can kind of go to, and and rely on and get information, and he's always one that's kind of walked down and spent time each week visiting, keeping me informed of things going on in the department. And it's kind of funny, when I was first elected, I walked in and we kind of looked at each other, and he's like, "I know you." I'm like, "From what?" And he's like, "You roomed with a couple of my buddies back at Ohio State in like 1980. I'm like, "Oh," my brain just went like, "Oh God, what did he see? What did he see me do?" And I'm thinking, no, but we had actually known each other and seen each other back a long, long time ago. And then this just happened recently. So our HR director is retiring, and she gave me a set of 1999 like baseball cards from all our police force. So I guess they used to do annual baseball cards in their picture, and he's standing all stern against a car with his dog next to him. And on the back of the cards, all the officers were asked to give this kind of words of wisdom, to the public. Don't do drugs, or do this and do that. And I turned over Bob's, and it said, "Don't run for me, I have a dog." So I just thought it was very, very poetic and something that was special. But I am going to miss seeing you around here. You've been a tremendous asset while I've been here, and I know council also wants to congratulate you on your retirement. And I did ask him if he's a little nervous and a little excited. He said, "Not nervous at all, really, really excited about all this happening." So congratulations, and we're going to miss you around here.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
All right. All right, next up is audience participation.
Yes, first we have Bob Hughes.
Bob Thews, 2229 Demi Drive in the Medwood Plan. Good evening, Mayor, Council, and all the other officials here. I'd like to speak a little bit about the council rules. I understand they're going to be reviewed and looked at from the standpoint of how they're set up. I've been going to this meeting on and off for over 10 years. Been here longer than almost half of the council has been, from the standpoint of that end. One of the things that has been offensive to me, and I've seen it affect other people out here in the audience, is the fact that we get up here and speak. Okay, we have our 5-minute time to speak, and then at that particular point down, we sit down. And then sometime later, sometimes immediately, sometimes later in the session altogether, we have people from the council or the mayor speak to us or at us. Sometimes just flat out dress us down. Okay, they don't. It's not respectful in any way, and it's for most people. I guess I'm just too hard-headed. Most people who've been dressed down like me, and I can tell you, I've been sitting in that audience when I've had people stand for 5 minutes and dress me down. I still come to the meeting because I guess I care, okay, from the standpoint. But you get people that come to this meeting and something like that happens to them, or they see the meeting and something like that happens, and they see somebody like me getting dressed down, they're never going to attend a meeting, okay? And then on top of that, the biggest atrocity was what happened to Sue Clark. That resident Sue Clark, that was a crime, okay, from that standpoint. So if you're going to change something, okay, if you really want involvement from people in the city, then include an opportunity for somebody to defend themselves from somebody dressing them down rather than dealing with the facts of the issue. So you have an opportunity at item 10, there's unfinished business, there'd be an opportunity to allow a resident who has spoken, if they have a chance to speak again. But as it stands now, it's totally unfair and totally out of balance. And there's no wonder why there's only a few people that show up. I'm just saying, if you really want participation from the city, then step up and make a change that'll allow them to participate. So that's all I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Thews.
Next, we have Michael Turtle.
Would you mind presenting us to you? There is a break in stamp you would sign. Thank you, Council President. I can share that with you in a minute too. Michael A. Turtle, 9930 Forest Lake Drive, Twinsburg, Ohio. I spent the better part of this afternoon going through some old YouTube videos, looking through council meetings. I'm trying to find the meeting where Fire Chief Morgan came in and discussed the need for $6 million of improvements to Station 1 because it was built not as a dormitory facility and it was, so long ago, it needs upgrades and this and that, or we need $6 million for a new station altogether, we'd make Station 1 administrative. I still haven't found it yet, so I don't really want to speak too much in detail. I remember it was before the clubhouse because I've been saying for years, firehouse or clubhouse, what's more important? But it was really cool going through all these old videos. I mean, it was like a greatest hits night, I'm watching all these things and, there's all these great conversations. We're talking about the old school, one of my favorites, talking about the roundabout accidents, talking about the clubhouse, talking about old school round 2, talking about the other roundabout, talking about pickleball courts, talking about pickleball or bocce ball courts. All these great conversations. Like I said, it was kind of hilarious watching these things, all this stuff that all these residents have brought in the council for all of these years. And I'm looking at all these people, and this kind of ironically ties right in with what Mr. Thews was saying. All these different people have come to this very podium for all these years and spoken on their concerns and, reaching out to our council and our government. These are our concerns. These are what we want. This is things that we would like to see happen. And out of all those things that I listed, nothing has come through. Bob's been looking for a sign ordinance for 5 years. We got illegal signs all over town. All over town. It's amazing that they just happen to stay there. Not getting picked up. Whole nother issue. But it comes to the fact that you guys don't listen to the people. They get ignored, very much like my Ward 1 council person right now. Completely ignoring me.
I have ears.
Stop the clock, Shannon, please. Can I have your attention, Mr. Scafidi? I believe that I deserve a few minutes of your attention.
Mr. Turtle.
I believe I deserve a few minutes of your
Mr. Turtle.
attention. You wanted the elected position of representing me. I believe I deserve 5 minutes of your attention. Is there something more interesting on your phone?
Mr. Turtle. Understood. Please address your comments to me.
I will continue my comments and I will restart my clock when I have attention here.
Mike, please.
Address your council president.
Please continue. He does not have to look at you. Please continue. I'm looking.
This is exactly what we're talking about. Do you guys really want to hear from the people that before an election you beg, we need you, we want your support, we want to represent you, and we can't even get people to pay attention to us? We've come before you with so many issues, so many concerns, and watching these videos tonight, one of the things that came up was a old school meeting that we had where I mentioned a conversation with Mr. Yates that I had where I came in and I presented all these great ideas and how we were going to do it. I know the whole issue is a moot point, but the conversation that we had is viable right now. And the end of the conversation was, it's not what we want to do. What about what the people want you to do? And don't give me that, we've been elected. We've been elected by majority. It was only 600 votes for both of you guys. 600 votes, that's 300 people. That's 150 homes. And that 46 to 54% might sound like a big margin, but it's not that big. And do you think that there's 300 people that have changed their mind in the last couple of years? I believe it's entirely possible. And to dismiss 1,200 people as an insignificant amount of people in the middle of a pandemic to come out and sign this petition, it's an insult to the people. That's not what a government representative is supposed to be. And it's an absolute travesty that you guys have turned our very safety forces who were sworn to protect and defend us against us for an issue that you all know has nothing to do with police and fire. Now I'm hearing that, what's the latest thing? Well, it goes back to a good deed that, happened back when Jim Carbeck was here. We had inside millage and they gave it up for the schools. How long ago was that? That was going back 20 years. And you're going to make an excuse of something 20 years ago. Why this financial situation is where we're at right now? And you're going to blame, Chrysler. I keep hearing Chrysler thrown up here, This is absolutely ridiculous. So now you're going to say the COVID, well, I haven't heard of any other community anywhere across the entire Northeast Cleveland area that is raising their taxes. And the real problem is not COVID or loss of income. It is fiscal mismanagement. Blatant, terrible fiscal management. And you can't even admit to that. So
Thank you, Mr.
I
Turner.
will address the council president. So when you guys can at least admit to making a mistake, I've made my share of mistakes and I admit to them and I own them, people might respect that, but people are listening and people are speaking.
Thank you, Mr. Turner.
I appreciate your grace with the clock.
Thank you.
That's all we have this evening.
All right. Next up is council communication and reports. Ms. McFerrin.
There was an architectural review board on October 15th. Case 20-1099, which was at 10380 North Pond Lane for a 3-season patio enclosure. That was approved. Case 20-10-100 at 9417 Triview Circle, a new office building at the apartments, that was tabled. Case 20-10-101, 1960 Midway, a building addition was approved. Case 20-10-102 at 9186 Liberty Road, an addition was approved. Case 20-10-103 at 9224 Darrah Road, the subway sign review was approved. Case 20-10-105, 9224 Darrah Road, the basement, a new restaurant opening, the sign was approved. And case 20-10-104 at 8972 Darrah Road, Twinsburg Smile sign review was approved as noted. The next meeting is November 5th. Here at 6 p.m. and I just want to wish everyone a happy, safe Halloween. And if you've already voted, thank you. And if you haven't voted, please do so on Tuesday. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Fury.
Thank you and good evening. This afternoon at 4 p.m., the Treasury Investment Committee met. The purpose of the Treasury Investment Committee is to review the investments of the city. About 5 years ago, we set up a program where we have multiple maturities of bonds, because the interest rate that we were getting from banks and CDs was practically zero. by putting this into place over the last 5 years, the city's realized about $900,000 in interest based on the $10 million, $900,000 of interest based on the $10 million that we held. The money is very liquid in that we have about $2 million from 0 to 1 year, some from 1 to 2 years, and some from 3 to 4 years. Again, the longer we hold the money, the better the interest rate is. This is something that Ms. Buccigross brought to us, and it's worked out extremely well. It's an annual meeting, and again, we're very pleased with the results. I attended a finance committee meeting this evening at 6, and I'm sure that Mr. Barr will report on that. There'll be a Board of Zoning Appeals tomorrow night at 6:30 in council chambers with a variance for 2999 Conotton Road Avenue. So, and lastly, there's a free community Thanksgiving dinner. This is the 9th annual time this has been put on. It'll be Tuesday, November 24th from 4 to 7 p.m. Due to COVID this year, it's a reservation only drive-through pickup that will be done at Twinsburg's Community Center. The information is at twinsburgrec.com, or you can call 216-352-1883 to register and get a reservation. And that's all I have this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Walker.
I did attend the Finance Committee meeting today, and regarding my organization's meeting, I have nothing to report. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Stoffer.
My committees did not meet. I did attend the Finance Committee. Oops, sorry about that. That's all I have for tonight.
Thank you. Mr. Scafidi.
Thank you. Good evening. The Planning Commission met on October 19th. There were 2 items on the agenda. The first one was Whitewood Apartments at 9417 Triview Circle. They came in for a final site plan approval. They're looking to construct a new building to house their leasing offices. Currently, they're running their leasing office out of one of the apartment buildings in one of the apartments. That was approved by the board by 4-0. Second item was Weatherken Corporation at 2222 and 2230 Highland Road. They came in for a lot split and consolidation, and this will turn 4 lots into 2 lots for them. And that was also approved 4-0 by the board. And that was all that was on the agenda that night. My other committees have not met, but I do want to make one quick comment about one of the resident comments. You know, it's funny that when people were up there, they want to be paid attention to, and I pay attention to everybody that's up there, okay? But there's times that when they come up there and they talk condescending to you, and then it's your turn to turn around and respond to them, they walk out the back door because they don't want to hear it. All I have to say to that gentleman that was up here is respect is earned and not given, okay? So learn how to earn respect. That's all I have tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Barr.
As stated by some of the other counselors, Finance Committee met this evening at 6 o'clock. The bulk of that conversation was regarding the COVID relief funds that the city of Twinsburg has received and still needs to allocate. To date, we've received approximately $1.64 million in COVID relief funds from various county and state organizations and federal as well. We have approximately $679,000 that still needs to be allocated. Our year-to-date use of that 1.63 is about $960,000. The bulk of that going to payroll relief, specifically police and fire salaries and dispatch salaries. So that's been extremely helpful given the downturn in income tax receipts. Some of the remaining funds, we're looking at implementing some PPE equipment for the fire department, some automated CPR machines, trying to go to a social distancing type format with movable furniture in some of the training rooms, possibly council chambers as well. There's going to be continued safety service, payroll relief, again, for police, fire, and dispatch. And we're also looking at the possibility of some community grants that would be distributed through the CIC. I believe Mr. Maestros is going to prepare some legislation that we'll have at the next meeting to have council vote on that. Other than that, we were informed that RITA has put together an estimate regarding Regional Income Tax Authority regarding individuals working from home, and that although we are not going to be one of the worst affected communities, we're not going to benefit from people working at home. So there is an anticipation that we will lose some revenue from that. The finance director can expound more on that if she chooses. It gets a little tricky. Finally, the next meeting of the Finance Committee is currently scheduled for November 24th. It'll be here at 6 o'clock in Chambers. Like Ms. McFerrin stated, I wish everybody a happy and safe Halloween. For those that are choosing to participate this year, just be safe, and please get out and vote on Tuesday if you haven't voted already. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. As my colleagues have commented, I was at the finance meeting this evening. None of my other committees have met. We did have earlier this evening interviews for Open Planning Commission in Ward 1. We were very lucky to have some really good candidates that came out, so thank you to those that came out and interviewed and showed interest in that particular commission. As everybody had said, Halloween is on Saturday. Please be careful if you're out and about. You know, a lot of children out walking the streets, so just be careful if you're out that evening. And again, get out and vote or mail your vote in. Mr. Mayor.
Good evening, everyone. Just a couple of things. I did attend this past week. Grand Village did a memorial service for the residents that they lost during COVID. As you can imagine, any of those that have family members in nursing home or assisted living, during this whole pandemic, there's been really zero visitation for family members, and it's been really difficult for some of these families to go through what they've gone through, losing a loved one, not really being able to see them, and the ones that did get COVID in Grand Village passed away with really no family support, and really a sad situation. And they created out front, as you go in, there's a tree planted for each resident that they lost, and they did a stone memorial recognizing the pandemic and those that were lost. And it was nice to see the families come out and just be able to console each other during that time, because they all were impacted kind of the same way. So I want to thank them for inviting me to that and being able just to participate on it. So as everyone said, Halloween is going on as normal as it can. This Saturday from 6 to 8, you know, just please be careful, you know, maybe even in your candy preparation that you're going to hand out and different things. I know we have some plans to try to keep things as safe as possible, and we may bag up candy and do different things a little different this year. You know, but always be careful driving around our neighborhoods. There's people out, there's kids out. We will have extra patrol out as we usually do, but just, you know, watch out for everyone out participating this year. We have a new HR director that started this week. His name's Michael Brown. Excited for him to start. Colette will be retiring. Her last day will be a week from Friday, so they have a little bit of overlap. But Michael is we're real excited about his background. He comes from Cuyahoga County. He managed Job and Family Services HR director, and he was also but worked in their talent and acquisition section at Cuyahoga County, so he comes with a lot of experience. I know some of council has had a chance to meet him already, but I think he's going to be a great addition here to the city. And I'll probably say it again later, but just want to congratulate Gonzo on his retirement. I know he's really excited and his family for this next stage of his life. And that's all I have this evening. And I have a couple of department head reports. Derek, let's start.
It's the first time I ever went before the finance director. I'll take it. Thanks for talking about those lights and stuff today at the caucus meeting. We'll get going on that and the corporate memberships for the fitness center. Another thing we're going to get going on. I did want to mention a couple things, events I guess we've had in the past. It was the dog swim at the outdoor pool. A little later this year, but it seemed to work out well. It was socially distanced. We're using time slots and size dogs, but people definitely appreciate that event. And on our end, it's pretty easy to put on. We also had a Cavs workshop this past Saturday at the fitness center. A Cavs team came in, and I think they had about 32 kids, and they used 2 courts, and it was socially distanced, their own basketball, all this other stuff that we're all doing these days. So that went well. Senior Center is still closed. We are using part of the community center for some small programming. Senior van is still running. We are still accepting snowplow applications. The price goes up after November 30th, so hopefully get in those applications ASAP. You can find them at twinsburgrecreation.com, then click on the Senior Center. The schools have asked to use the community center a couple times. They have 4 weeks that they're doing their online learner state testing in the entire building. So they have desks that they brought up from the schools. They're using the senior side and the community center side. They are sanitizing everything, cleaning all the restrooms, taking all the temperatures. So we've worked out with them. It's the least we could do, I think. They have a lot of craziness going on in their world too. So they are using that. They are here this week, I think, and then 2 more weeks coming up. And voting will be held at the community center. Even though we are technically closed, we're doing a couple things like that. That doesn't really involve our staffing because we don't have much staff up there. So the schools are manning them, polling people are manning their day open there as well. Thanksgiving dinner that Mr. Fury mentioned, yeah, so I've been working with them to figure out how they can do this. So if you do go to twinsburgrecreation.com, you reserve a time slot. It's every 15 minutes from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. and 10 cars per time slot. And you'll pull up and you request how many meals you need in your when you're registering. It's just like registering the same system for swimming lessons or anything through us. When you check out, it's a free checkout, but at least you get a receipt that you can turn into them, and they'll know what meal you are, and they'll be able to plan accordingly. So I'm glad we can work that out. I'm sure there'll be some kinks. You can always call us at the fitness center too, and we can do it over the phone. But you can do it online yourself, because I think that's an awesome thing that is provided to the city, and I think we can accommodate that still even in this time. Basketball League, TRBL, Youth League has started, so they are doing the travel portion, and they are practicing at the fitness center under their new COVID guidelines for basketball. Soccer is just about wrapping up outdoors. Pickleball is moving indoors. At the fitness center, you can register online for that too, to get your court space or your time slot, because again, we can't have 20 people waiting for a pickleball court inside. So we have some different parameters that we have to abide by now in order to have things like that. So court space is at a premium at the fitness center, so we are taking reservations for things like that. The pool is going great. We hosted our first swim meet. Actually, we have another one coming up, a bigger one. But Brandon's got that thing under control. He's kind of one of our leaders in even Northeast Ohio for how to run a swim meet effectively in the COVID era. So we're utilizing his talents for that to make those go off successfully. And they take a long time. So when he works them, he has to be there for 12 hours because you can't have all the swimmers in the pool at the same time. We're looking at 24/7 access coming back at some point. We're looking at Sundays coming back at some point. It's just, how do we clean effectively? How do we make sure that people are cleaning their equipment effectively, and staffing how we can even man on a Sundays right now is kind of a problem. So we are working on that. We know it's going to be probably in more high demand once it gets colder. So we're looking at that. I want to say one other thing. Oh, I did want to congratulate Bob Kaczewski and Colette on retirement. It seems so far away from me, but I'm very jealous. And just want to make sure everyone goes out and votes next week.
Thank you.
Thanks, Derek.
Thanks,
Derek.
Derek.
Yeah.
Good evening, council. I want to say congrats to AC as well. We will miss his Friday stop-bys. He always just liked to come by and see how Finance was doing and how we were holding up, and we appreciated that. We don't get a ton of visitors, so it was nice of him to do that. And we're going to miss Colette, too. We work very closely with HR. We're certainly excited for Michael to get started, but Colette brings a lot of laughs, and he's got big shoes to fill. That's probably my good news. So the Rita work from home, it is difficult to explain. Essentially, most of our withholding comes from folks coming into the city to work. So if 1 in 10 people start to work from home, we will lose 3% of that income. Just because some of our folks will start working from home as well that might have left the city. So I don't know if that maybe makes sense. Okay. And then the last thing I have is income tax revenues for October. We're still down that 8.5%, which at this time is $1.75 million. So, year to date, sorry.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that's all we have.
All right. All right, we have 4 pieces of legislation this evening. First up is Resolution 88, 2020.
A resolution authorizing the transfer of service weapon serial number 45A022087 to retiring Assistant Police Chief Robert Kaczewski as an honorarium for his many years of service to the city of Twinsburg.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt Resolution 88, 2020. May I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Scafidi seconds. Any discussion?
It's well deserved.
Yeah, indeed. Congratulations.
I'd like to congratulate Gonzo on his retirement. Have fun in North Carolina.
Shannon, please call the roll.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Ms. McFerrin?
Yes.
Resolution 88, 2020 passes 7-0. Next up is Ordinance 89, 2020.
An ordinance establishing membership fees and rates for the fitness center in the Parks and Recreation Department and declaring an emergency.
I'd like to make a motion to put Ordinance 89, 2020 on its third and final reading and declare it an emergency. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Ms. McFerrin seconds. Any discussion?
The reason for the emergency is this will change the, it will allow people who work in the city to get a resident rate. And we want to get the rates published as quickly as possible so that we can deal with the first of the year.
Anything else? Shannon, please call the roll.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Ms. McFerrin?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
All right, the emergency clause passes 7-0. Now I'd like to make a motion to adopt Ordinance 89, 2020 as an emergency. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Mrs. Stoffer seconds. Any further discussion? Shannon, please call the roll.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Ms. McFerrin?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Ordinance 89, 2020 passes 7-0 as an emergency. Next up is Resolution 90, 2020.
A resolution acknowledging council's receipt and review of the monthly financial statements submitted by the Finance Department for July, August, and September 2020.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt Resolution 90, 2020. May I have a second?
I second.
Mrs. Walker seconds. Any discussion? Shannon, please call the roll.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Ms. McFerrin?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Resolution 90, 2020 passes 7-0. Finally, this evening, we have Resolution 91, 2020.
A resolution authorizing the city engineer to prepare and submit an application to participate in the Ohio Public Works Commission State Capital Improvement Program and to execute contracts as required for the White Oak and Birchwood reconstruction.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt Resolution 91, 2020. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Yield.
Mrs. Stoffer seconds. Any discussion? Shannon, please call the roll.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Ms. McFerrin?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Resolution 91, 2020 passes 7-0. Next up is unfinished business, new business, and miscellaneous. Ms. McFerrin.
I also attended the Finance Committee meeting tonight, and I just wanted to note that all of us attend that meeting because it is so important that we're involved in understanding the city finances, and I appreciate that we all do. And I just want to welcome our new HR director and wish everyone the best on their retirements, and happy birthday, Amy Moore. That's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Fury.
Thank you. First of all, David Post is in the audience tonight, and I'd like to thank him for the work that he's done to beautify our community. David's been working for a year and a half. He's got fans. David's been working for a year and a half on a project to redo all the signs in Ethan's Green and make them permanent, 40 to 50-year-old lasting signs with sandstone and brick and trees and landscaping with lighting on it. It's a significant program that he's really been the project manager on. The Homeowners Association is investing over $120,000 in it, and it looks great, and it should be completed within the next few weeks. So thank you, David. I'd also like to make comments on issue 24. I'm opposed to issue 24 for the following reasons. The state mandates that each city gets 10 mils of inside millage to support city operations. Twinsburg charter was changed 40 years ago to limit that to be 7 mils per the charter. So we're already limited 3 mils more than any normal city in Ohio. The state also mandates that we have 0.3 mils in place for police and fire pensions, which is 0.6. If 24 passes, it will reduce the ability for our millage to be at 2. By that, we will only have 1.4 mils of open millage that we could use to affect our bond rating, to affect our credit rating, which we've had professionals in here that work for the city that have told us it would be significantly damaged if this were to pass. It'll also reduce the amount of spending allocated to the police and fire departments by $1.9 million a year currently. There's information on this that's posted on the on the fire department's website. It's www.twinsburgfire.com. The signs and the ads that you've been seeing, they're all paid for by the Twinsburg Police Association, who's released a video tonight that I think will be on many social medias. It will be on their website and others, explaining on why they're supporting this. The fire department, it also asked me is supporting this because they understand. In fact, the fire department came to us 2 years ago and wanted to run their own millage campaign. And anyway, it's important that we support those safety forces and keep our financial stability of the city strong. Issue 24, if it passes, will significantly limit that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fury. Mrs. Walker.
I have nothing, thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Stoffer.
I just wanted to congratulate Colette and Gonzo on their retirement. And I wanted to let the residents of Ward 4 know that my phone number has changed. So if you're trying, do I just give my number out here? It's going to be on the website. If you need to reach me for any reason, my number is 216-990-4927. If you can hear that. 216-990-4927. So my number's changed. We will change it on the website as well. But I wanted to let the residents of Ward 4 know that if they need to get a hold of me, they can reach me there. Or at City Hall, if you don't get that down. I'd also like to thank David Post for his hard work with the Ethan's Green Association. So thank you very much. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Scafidi.
Thank you. I have nothing further tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Barr.
Nothing for me. I just would like to echo Mr. Fury and Mrs. Stoffer. Mr. Post has put a lot of time and effort, well above and beyond that of a trustee or vice president of Homeowners Association, into this project. And it's just phenomenal looking. So thank you. Really looks good. That's all I have.
All right, thank you. Derek mentioned it during his remarks. City Hall is going to be lit up here in all likelihood right after Thanksgiving and probably through maybe the first of the year or something like that. So we're certainly looking forward to seeing that this year. Again, I just want to make sure that everybody's healthy and safe this Saturday, and hope everybody continues to stay healthy and safe moving forward. Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, nothing else from me this evening. Thank you.
Mr. Maestros?
Thank you. I just want to, again, with everyone else, congratulate both Colette and Gonzo. I mean, we're losing two of our mainstays here at City Hall, so they'll both be missed. Trading Colette Wozniak for Mike Brown, that makes it easier on all of us from a pronunciation standpoint. We do appreciate that. And Gonzo, I've worked with Gonzo for 20-plus years. He's a high-character guy that was really a stable environment, create a stable environment in that police department. We could always count on him being there when we call down there, and I wish him the best. He deserves this. So, but we will be missing him here at City Hall. Thanks.
All right. Sarah, anything?
Karen House brought the investment.
Oh, okay. All right. Karen House brought up the investment.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. All right. We have no absent members to excuse, so at 8:16 p.m. we will adjourn the meeting.